The bus roared down the cracked old highway, early morning fog curling around the windows like cold fingers and before. The story even begins, you need to hear this. If you're watching this from the US or the UK dawn, do you dare blink, because what is about to happen is the kind of twist that makes people yell at their screens. And before you dive in, hit that subscribe button like you're trying to break it, because this story isn't playing games. It's going to punch through your expectations, drag you in by the collar, and leave you breathless. It begins the moment Destiny, cold quiet, dark-skinned, 16, hoodie up, earphones and steps onto bus 47, the one that smells of old leather and teenage boredom, the one that everyone in town knows is basically a mobile hierarchy where the bullies sit in front. Their friends crowd the middle, and anyone they don't like, well, they get pushed to the very back. Destiny had moved to Ridgeview only 3 days earlier, and she already knew the stares weren't accidental. The whispering didn't bother her. The pointing didn't bother her. The muttered slurs didn't bother her. Not because she didn't hear them, but because she'd heard far worse in underground fight circuits across 3 states, where she'd fought grown adults twice her size, where the roar of crowds replaced the sting of insults. But no one here knew that, and that's where the bully made his first mistake. Travis Harkin, the blonde king of the school who thought being varsity captain gave him permission to act like he owned oxygen, blocked the aisle with his leg the moment she stepped on. "Back," he said, smirking. "Back row for you," his friends snickered like hyenas trying to impress their alpha. The bus eyes locked onto her, heat rising, expectation building. Destiny's jaw tightened not from anger, but from the effort of not ending the entire bus route in under 10 seconds. She didn't want trouble. She didn't need trouble. But sometimes trouble refuses to walk away. Travis shoved her shoulder lightly, a coward's shove. "Did you not hear me?" "Back." Destiny stared at him with eyes that held storms no weather channel could predict, and for a moment he actually hesitated. But pride pushes fools forward. "Sit," he barked, louder this time. She walked to the back without a word, because sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who delays the fight. Sometimes all that changed 3 days later. Travis and his crew had spent the week escalating, snatching Destiny's notebook, flicking paper at her, mocking her accent even though she barely spoke, laughing too loudly whenever she walked past. They didn't know she spent her late nights training in a basement gym lit by one flickering bulb. They didn't know she was state level in Muay Thai and undefeated in underground brackets. They didn't know she had once broken a grown man's grip with one twist of her wrist. They only saw the quiet girl who never responded. And bullies always mistake silence for weakness. That Friday morning, as the bus rattled over the old bridge, Travis strutted down the aisle with the swagger of a boy who had never been hit hard enough to learn humility. He grabbed Destiny's backpack off the seat beside her and dumped it into the aisle, scattering her books. "Oops," he said, stepping on a notebook. "Clumsy me." The bus laughed. Destiny didn't. She sat very still, breath steadying, a dangerous calm settling over her like a fighter hearing the bell ring. Travis crouched, lowering his voice with a mocking sweetness. "Pick it up." Destiny finally looked at him, really looked, her voice so soft it barely formed a ripple in the air. "Move your foot." Travis laughed and pressed harder on the notebook. "Make me." And that was the moment the bus, the bully, and every kid watching crossed the invisible line. Destiny stood, 5'6", not imposing until you looked at her posture. Balanced, coiled, controlled. "Move," she said one last time. Travis smirked. "What are you gonna do, huh?" "Sit back there like a good little." He didn't finish the sentence. Because the moment his mouth shaped the word, Destiny moved not with rage, not with sloppiness, but with surgical precision. One hand trapped his wrist, one pivot unbalanced him. One sweep sent him crashing backward into the aisle. The bus screamed in shock. Travis flailed, trying to stand, but Destiny stepped forward, foot placed gently but unmistakably near his chest, keeping him pinned without even applying force. "I told you to move," she said. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. Travis scrambled backward like a frightened animal, ego cracking louder than bone, and his crew sat frozen, unsure whether to help or pretend they didn't know him. But bullies never admit defeat. Humiliation only fuels desperation, so he plotted. Over the next week, Travis convinced himself Destiny had jumped him, that she had embarrassed him, that no new girl had the right to do that to him. His anger stewed, then boiled, then spilled over into something reckless. He challenged her behind the gym after school. Not directly, cowards don't do direct, but through whispers, through friends, through threats. Destiny ignored him until he went after the one thing she couldn't tolerate, offending an elderly woman on the bus who had defended Destiny earlier. Travis shoved the elderly passenger, not hard, but enough to send a message. That was his second mistake. When the bus stopped that afternoon, Destiny followed him off. No audience, no cameras, no crowd. Just the two of them behind the empty football bleachers, wind slicing through the silence. "You want to fight," she said calmly. Travis scoffed. "What, you scared now?" She shook her head. "I'm here so you stop involving everyone else." Travis cracked his knuckles, or tried to. His hands shook. "Let's go then." Destiny didn't posture, didn't talk, didn't threaten. The fight ended in exactly 6 seconds. A sidestep, a wrist lock, a takedown so controlled that he hit the ground without injury but with zero dignity. Travis lay frozen, staring up at her as if seeing her for the first time. "You're crazy," he whispered. "No," she said. "I'm trained." She helped him up. He snatched his arm away, but his eyes were different now, fear blended with respect, or at least the first flicker of it. Behind them, unknown to them both, a teacher had witnessed everything. Monday morning changed everything. Travis walked onto the bus, and instead of blocking the aisle, he stepped aside, not dramatically, not apologetically, just quietly. Destiny walked past without looking at him. The bus watched. Word had spread not about the fight, but about what happened afterward. Travis got mandatory counseling for aggression after the teacher's report, and Destiny asked privately if she wanted disciplinary action against him declined. She didn't need revenge. She needed peace. The counselor arranged a mediation session. Travis sat stiffly, jaw clenched. Destiny sat with the same calm she'd shown since the beginning. "Why didn't you tell them everything?" he asked finally, voice cracking. "You could have gotten me expelled." Destiny shrugged. "I don't want your life ruined. I just want you to stop." Travis looked away, ashamed. "Why didn't you fight me on the first day?" Destiny paused for a long moment, because some fights aren't worth winning, and some people don't know they're hurting others until someone stops them. Travis's eyes softened, just a little, enough. The next day on the bus, he nodded at her. A simple nod, awkward, stiff, but real. Destiny nodded back. The entire bus exhaled as if a storm had finally passed. A week later, Travis stood up when another kid tried to bully a nervous freshman and shut it down. Not with violence, with words, with awareness. And Destiny? She finally took off her headphones on bus 47. The fog no longer pressed against the windows like tension trying to seep in. The world looked clearer. The ride felt lighter. She even cracked a smile when the elderly woman she'd protected winked at her. Destiny had never wanted to be the strongest person on the bus. She just wanted to be left alone. But sometimes strength changes people, especially the ones who once tried to break you. Travis never became her friend. They never sat together, never talked beyond polite nods. But he never bullied again. Sometimes a fight doesn't end with a knockout. Sometimes it ends with growth. Sometimes the back of the bus becomes the front line of change. And sometimes the quiet girl no one notices ends up being the one who rewrites the entire story. The moment Destiny Cole stepped onto bus 47, she felt the tension hit her like static electricity. The seats were packed with the usual hierarchy, Travis Harkin and his friends in the front, whispering, laughing, sizing everyone up as if they owned the world. Destiny had been warned about bullies like him, the kind who made high school a battlefield disguised as routine. He didn't waste time. The second she tried to pass, he blocked her path with his leg, smirk twisting his face. "Back," he said, voice dripping with superiority. The bus laughed. Destiny didn't. Most people thought she was just a quiet new girl, the type who kept her head down, and took insults like water off a duck's back. But she had a history they couldn't imagine. Years of underground fighting, state-level Muay Thai tournaments, and fights where the crowd roared as she dismantled opponents twice her size, all gone unmentioned because she wasn't here to prove herself yet. She walked to the back without a word, but her eyes didn't miss anything. Every whisper, every pointed finger, every twitch of a sneer, she cataloged it silently, calculating. The first day went by, but the tension didn't leave. Travis saw her quietness as weakness, and every day after, he escalated, knocking books out of her hands, flicking notes, whispering slurs, daring her to respond. Each time, Destiny stayed calm, her body coiled like a spring, her mind observing. He didn't know that patience was her weapon, too. And patience would have its payoff. It came 3 days later. Travis shoved her backpack into the aisle for the third time. "Oops," he said with fake innocence, stepping on her notebook. "Clumsy me." The bus erupted in laughter, a tidal wave of mockery. Destiny stayed seated, eyes fixed on him, voice barely above a whisper. "Move your foot," he laughed, pressing harder. "Make me," that was the line. In an instant, she moved with precision no bully had ever anticipated. Her hand gripped his wrist, her stance unbalanced him, and in a flash he was on the floor, sprawling across the aisle, ego shattered in 6 seconds flat. The bus screamed, a mixture of shock and awe. His friends froze, unsure if they should intervene or pretend nothing happened. Travis scrambled back, terrified, humiliated, but Destiny simply stepped aside, calm and controlled, letting him recover without further harm. She didn't need to destroy him, she only needed to prove that strength could exist quietly, waiting for the right moment. But bullies like Travis don't surrender gracefully. Over the next week, he fumed, planning behind her back, trying to regain power, whispering threats through friends. He thought he could challenge her after school behind the empty football bleachers, imagining a showdown that would restore his reputation. Destiny followed him not for pride, not for vengeance, but to stop him from involving others. No cameras, no audience, just 2 people facing the truth. Travis cracked his knuckles, but his hands shook. Destiny didn't shout or threaten. She acted. In 6 seconds, the fight was over. 1 sidestep, 1 wrist lock. A controlled takedown that left him on the ground without dignity, gasping. "You're crazy," he whispered. "No," she replied. "I'm trained." And then she did something unexpected. She helped him up. Travis snatched his arm away, eyes wide, realizing the girl he had underestimated had no interest in vengeance, only justice, boundaries, and strength. Behind them, a teacher who had been passing by silently observed the entire scene. The next Monday, the bus felt different. Travis didn't block the aisle. He didn't smirk. He didn't try to dominate. Destiny walked past without a glance. Word spread, not about the fight itself, but about the courage, restraint, and discipline behind it. Travis had mandatory counseling for aggression, a week of reflection, and slowly, subtly, he began to understand. He never became her friend. They never exchanged casual greetings or jokes, but he stopped bullying not just her, but others too. The quiet girl who had once sat at the back of the bus had rewritten the rules, silently teaching respect, restraint, and courage. And Destiny? She finally relaxed, smiled at the elderly woman she had protected, and realized that sometimes the loudest victories require no noise at all, no applause, only presence, discipline, and unshakable self-respect.